Welcome to A Changed Life. This is a podcast about choosing differently, how you think, how you relate, and how you lead yourself. Here we focus on the inner shifts that create real momentum and open up what's possible next. Welcome back. I'm really glad that you're here. This is Ilyse, and today's episode, hold on to your hat. This is sort of like a long time coming kind of conversation. So sit back, relax, unless of course you're driving, then don't do that. But see what opens up for you in this episode. Here we go. If it could have been any different, it would have been, and it wasn't, so it couldn't have been. These words belong to a humanist, a philosopher, a mind architect. His name is Peter Crone. And the first time that I heard them, it really stopped me in my tracks. Not because of the discomfort, although there definitely was some of that. That is true. But because the truth of them pointed directly at something I know I had been doing and something most of us do, that was actually costing me more than I knew. I had been asking a question that had no answer. And I had been asking it in a loop. Could it have been different? Maybe you know this question well. Maybe you're living inside of it right now. Maybe it's the thing that keeps you up at night. Or when you wake up in the middle of the night, you can't go back to sleep because that question keeps coming up over and over in your mind. It's the kind of question that follows you like a shadow, like you just can't get rid of it. Could I have said something sooner, or said something differently, or done something differently, or seen the signs sooner, or stayed longer, or left earlier, or tried harder, or let go sooner? Could I have saved them? Could I have saved us? Could I have saved myself? I know this question deeply personally. I asked it so many times after I lost my sister. Someone I love deeply, who lived with chronic pain, physical and emotional, for a long time, and whose life ended way, way too soon. And I've asked the question in the aftermath of betrayal, a relationship that rewrote everything I thought I knew about someone that I trusted. Same question, different losses, same trap. And what Peter Crone's words gave me, what I want to give you today, is a way out. Not by answering the question, but by showing you why the question itself is the thing standing between you and everything that's now available. You see, the question, could it have been different? It feels productive, and that's what makes it so seductive. It feels like if you just think hard enough about it, if you just replay it one more time carefully, and you analyze it thoroughly, or maybe get somebody else's input on it, somehow you'll find the answer that gives you back some control over what happened. Like there's a thread somewhere in the past that if you could just locate it and pull it, everything would make sense, and you'd finally be able to move on or move. But here's what I know now. The past is not a variable in any of this. It already happened exactly as it happened. Every decision that was made by you or by them or by life or by the circumstances, those were made with the information, with the capacity, with the awareness, with the wiring that existed then in that moment. Not the awareness that you have now, not the perspective that you've gained since. Only what existed then, which means the question, could it have been different, is not just unanswerable, It's based on a false premise, because if it could have been different, if any single variable had been different, including your awareness, their choices, the circumstances, it would have unfolded differently, and it didn't. Which means in that moment, with everything that existed in that moment, it couldn't have. And this is not resignation. This is not giving up or excusing what happened. This is the sentence that actually sets you free, because the moment you stop asking a question that has no answer, the moment you release the loop, something incredible opens up. A space that was completely occupied by what if suddenly becomes available for what now. And what now is the only question that could actually take you somewhere. So I want to name something before we go further, that it does get talked about, but I don't think nearly enough when it comes to betrayal. And when I say betrayal, I mean betrayal by another person. Sometimes we feel betrayed by life and life circumstances. Many times we have betrayed ourselves. Betrayal is grief. It's not like grief. It's not adjacent to grief. It is grief. When betrayal happens, whether that is a partner or a friendship or a business relationship or a family member or a life, whatever it is, yourself, you're not just processing a broken trust. You're mourning. You are mourning the relationship you thought you had, the person you believed them to be, and the version of yourself that existed inside that relationship. Who you were when you were with them, how you saw yourself, how you moved through the world. You're mourning a future that you were building toward that no longer exists. And for many people, especially in romantic betrayal, you're mourning your entire past, because now the past looks different. Every memory is potentially recontextualized. Every trip, every holiday, every get-together, every moment of closeness now carries a bit of a question mark. Was it real? Was any of it real? Who was I with? That's grief. Deep, disorienting, identity-level grief, and it deserves to be called what it is, because when you stop treating it purely as a problem to solve or a wrong to right, you can actually start to move through it instead of around it. And grief in all of its forms comes with the same question. Could it have been different? I watched this question move through my entire family like a wave, like a current after we lost my sister. Each of us privately torturing ourselves with our own version of it. What if I had said something different? What if I had pushed harder? What if I found some solution? What if I had shown up differently? What if I spoke differently? What if I acted differently? And in the aftermath of betrayal, there it was again, that same loop. Different loss, but same trap. The question feels like devotion in a way. Like if you stop asking it, you're somehow letting go of the person or the relationship or the version of your life that you lost. But staying in the loop is not devotion at all. It is not honoring what happened. It's keeping yourself from what's here now. And what's here now, I promise you, has more in it than the what if loop has been letting you see. I'm going to speak to you now very directly about something that happens after betrayal that is really important to name and to call out. When betrayal happens, when someone is acting out or living a double life or deceiving you in some way, your consent is taken from you. Because there are things happening in the background that you don't know about, that you didn't agree to. Someone is making choices sometimes every day, multiple times a day, for weeks, for months, for years, for decades, that affect your life, your body, your reality, your future, without your knowledge and without your permission. That is a theft, a profound and violating theft of your consent. And then, and this is the part that I really want to highlight here, when you allow the betrayal to erase your past, when you say things like, I can't look at those pictures anymore, those memories, they don't exist anymore, my entire history is now contaminated, something important is happening that I want you to see clearly. You are giving your consent away a second time, not having it taken, giving it, voluntarily surrendering what is yours to a betrayal that has already taken enough. The betrayal reached into your present and your future without your permission, but your past, your own lived experience, your memories, what was real for you, that's the one thing it cannot touch without you allowing it. And when you decimate your own history, when you hand the betrayal your past as well, you're not processing your pain. You're not being appropriately devastated by what happened. You're extending the reach of the betrayal beyond what it was ever able to do on its own. I will share with you that I made a very specific and a very consciously aware choice when I faced this in my own life. I decided I was not going to allow somebody else's external behavior to rewrite my lived experience. My lived experience, it was what it was. What I felt was real. What I experienced was mine. The love that I gave was genuine. The love that I felt in those memories, in that lived experience, that was real. And those moments mattered to me. They happened, and they were real for me. And I was not willing to decimate my whole history because of someone else's choices. You are allowed to keep your past. Protecting your lived experience, it is not denial, and it is not minimizing what happened. It is refusing, I mean this strongly, it is refusing to give consent a second time to something that already took too much. That is not weakness. That is sovereignty. That is liberation. So, what actually happens when you release the question, when you stop asking, could it have been different? About a loss, a betrayal, a relationship, a person that you couldn't save, what becomes available? What opens up is the present, which I know sounds simple, but it isn't. Most people who are deep in the what-if loop are not actually living in the present. They're living in a reconstructed past, running simulations of alternate timelines that don't exist and never, ever will. And all of that mental and emotional energy, all of it is being spent on something that cannot and will never change. When you release it, that energy comes back to you and you start to see what is actually here, what is actually available, what is actually possible from exactly where you are standing right now. And here's where I want to go one level deeper. So we haven't gone deep enough, but we're going to go one level deeper. Because releasing the past is one thing, and it is essential. But there's something else that needs to be looked at honestly if you actually want things to change. And I want to apply Peter Crone's logic to something that might feel a little uncomfortable. Your current self, the way that you see yourself today, the way you show up for yourself today, how you identify, how you orient toward your life and your future, all of it. If that version of you could give you everything that you wanted and everything that you know that you need and deserve, you'd already have it. And I say that not to discourage you or myself. I say it because I've lived this myself and because it is the most important thing that I can point you toward. If the current version of you, the identity that you're operating from right now, could produce the life you want, you'd already be living it. And you're not, which means the work isn't trying harder from the same place. The work is updating the place itself. How you see yourself, how you orient, what you believe you deserve, what you believe is possible for you specifically. That is the work, not the endless excavation of the past, not the what-if loop, not performative healing, while the underlying identity stays the same. The identity, the self, is where everything changes or doesn't. And the beautiful thing about understanding this, really, really understanding this, is that it stops being a sentence of defeat. And it starts being the most empowering thing you may have ever heard, because identity is not fixed. You're not in a fixed place in your identity. It's not a life sentence. It's more of a program, and programs can be rewritten. That is what a changed life actually is. So I hope that you take a couple minutes here, maybe even replay this episode, see how it lands on you the second time, because this is big stuff here, and it's really, really important. If this episode landed somewhere deep and real for you, if you recognized yourself in the loop, in the grief, in the question that you just can't stop asking yourself, I want you to know that there is support available that goes beyond what most people in this space are offering. And there is a lot of good folks out there, really good support out there. And what I can tell you honestly is that the perspectives that I know that I bring, rooted in identity work and neuroscience and a forward-facing approach that will not keep you anchored to the past. It's really not that common. Not many people that I've met in this space are working from this place. And that means that if you haven't found your footing yet, if the approaches that you've tried have kept you circling without actually moving, there may be a path that you haven't explored yet. And I would love to have a conversation with you. No pressure, no agenda. They're not sales calls. They are real conversations about where you are and what might actually move the needle. You will find a link to book a call in the show notes. You can also visit IlyseCraft.com. Lots of resources there, lots of information. You can also contact me that way. So this idea, could it have been different? Nope, it couldn't have been, because it wasn't. And that is not a life sentence. That is actually the sentence that sets you free. Your past belongs to you. Your lived experience is yours, and no one else's actions can reach back and take it from you unless you let them. And the present, this moment, this version of your life, exactly as it is right now, is full of things the what-if loop has been blocking from your view. The question was never, could it have been different? The question was always, what is available to me now? That's where Change Lives are built. I am Ilyse Craft. This is a Change Life podcast. And if this episode gave you something, share it with someone who is still asking the question. They need to hear that there's a way out of the loop. And I will see you next week. If something in today's episode resonated with you, you'll find a link in the show notes to book a free consultation call. Or you can visit IlyseCraft.com to explore my programs and free resources. Nothing changes until you do. And when you do, everything does. This is a changed life. Not all at once, but for good.